Jumbo Mambo familia, Angu, this is Eli-Ben-Eli, Karibu, Karibu to me, to my channel, and, if you haven't liked and subscribed, please like and subscribe. I'm very happy with the number of new subscribers that I have. I welcome each and every one of you, I'm feeling very positive. But anyway, today I wanted to talk about something that's based on a biblical principle. They say that the wages of sin is death, but we're not talking about sin. We're talking about foolishness. The wages of a fool is tomfoolery. Very early on, upon seeing the engineer that Marwa has, I said to myself, this is a bush engineer. A long time ago, I knew a man who had worked in a hospital as a receptionist. And everybody, this was a Seventh-day Adventist gentleman. Everybody took to calling him doctor. That man was not even a nurse. But everybody would call him doctor, doctor this, doctor that. And before you know it, in that hospital, they even let him write prescriptions and everything. That's called being a bush doctor. You have a man who is a glorified bricklayer, what they call a mason in Miavohanse. And he's been at it for a long time, and he's a tall man, and he looks really intelligent and real solid. And he dresses a certain way. People begin calling him engineer. And, you have a fool comes along who knows nothing about building, somebody like Marwa, and let's say his father. His own father told him this is an engineer. Yeah, you should hire this engineer. Well, the man might be able to build a 2 or 3 room house, but a modern house with plumbing and banisters and railings and electricity and toilets and kitchens with drains and everything, that man doesn't have an idea. Construction is all about sequencing. There are several distinct jobs that are done on a construction site. First, a foundation has to be laid down. But as you're laying down that foundation, you're supposed to allow the plumbers to do their work because some of what they do is inside of that foundation. And then you have people come in who do the framing. And then you have people who come in and do the exterior walls. Insulation, interior walls, electricity. It's a complicated process, and it requires a lot of sequencing. Well, please remember, Marwa is the man who boasts about how he built Mama Zan's house in 7 days, 10 days, whatever. Construction, if you want to build something that isn't going to collapse and kill people, construction takes time and planning and sequencing and everything. Marwa is not the man to do that. He likes to boast about how quickly he does everything. So you take all of that together with a bush a bush engineer. What do you have? The wages of being a fool is tomfoolery. You have a lot of tomfoolery. Okay, there is no rhyme, and this is what I've been saying all along. Marwa just doesn't know what he's doing. But the thing is that the person who's supposed to take the plans of an architect from the drawing board into reality is the engineer. Okay, Marwa claims that he had an engineer create that house and everything. The engineer is nowhere to be found, okay? I mean, the architect is nowhere to be found, okay? The point is this. someone seriously dropped the ball, but the person who was supposed to be there to do all of the overall supervision and guidance and everything of the project is in fact the engineer. But Marwa calls himself the site manager. Okay, he's in there barking orders at people, making his videos, telling people, pole, you're not making a video and everything. What's the result? You end up with a beautifully painted building with all kinds of expensive tiles. And no plumbing in the walls. No pipe, no water, nothing. A complete and total mess. A complete and total botch. The wages of a fool is tomfoolery. And then we know along comes this crazy along comes a crazy man. I'm sorry, only my we're up for your crazy. Along comes a crazy kid who talks him into spending a small fortune building a mud bath that is destroyed by a strong rain when the river rises. And what does Mawira do? The only thing that a wise man does, what the plumber did, what the electrician has done, and what the engineer will eventually do. He fled. Now Mawira is in another village making videos. The wages of being a fool is tomfoolery. You know, I love the story about how somebody brought him a chicken or chickens that were sick, and now they're slaughtering all of the chickens. But what are they doing? You know, a brilliant man like Marwa, he just doesn't slaughter the chickens. He slaughters the chickens, and he has his women cook them, and he eats them. And then he's wondering why he's going around feeling sick. Dude, you're eating sick animals. You're gonna get sick. You know, the whole thing is such a fiasco. The part that I'm really loving are these pit latrines that have no boards across the top, no cement around the rims, and you're doing this on marshy soil in the middle of rainy season. Which means what? It means that some of the people that are going to be using that toilet will squat next to the toilet. According to Black Beauty, they'll have mosquitoes. These African mosquitoes biting their behind, and it's gonna sound to them like rifle shots when the mosquitoes bite their butts. But this is the thing. That ground is going to be soaked in water at some point because of rain. So, mark my word on this. Someone is going to squat down to do what they do at a latrine, next to one of those latrines, and the latrine will collapse. And they'll end up 10 feet into the ground, surrounded by shit. You want to know something? I make a prediction, and I'm not being a hater, I'm just being realistic. The first time that somebody in that compound, the very first time that somebody in that compound ends up being seriously injured, you and I know what's going to happen. The police are going to step in, the party's going to be canceled, and I have been predicting this for a long time. Marwa will make his way into Tanzania. Marwa will make his way into Tanzania, being driven by the Thrilla, and he will not be heard of in that neighborhood for a good while. In that village for a good while. It is a complete and total disaster. It is what some people here in America would call a shit show. I mean, it's like I keep asking something. Where are the adults? Where are the community elders? Where are the responsible people to, but apparently everybody's kind of intimidated by Marwa. No one wants to. The only people that are prepared to tell him, listen, you're being something of a fool, are reactors. Marwa is doing something very, very dangerous. I predict, if he isn't careful, massive breakouts of malaria, cholera, Hep C, okay, all kinds of different stomach viruses, food poisoning. I mean, it's like, I love T, the village cook, but I have told her, be very careful, because things are not gonna go well at this the rumble in the jungle, at the Thrilla villa in the East African Manila. And when things begin to go bad, they're gonna start looking for people to blame. I submit to you that the engineer, if he is not very careful, will be tarred and feathered and chased out of the villa very soon. And probably the Triba isn't in any trouble. Mawira had the wisdom to flee the compound before the blame starts, being flung around. The engineer is a fool. He does not understand the position that he's in. What he should do at this point is explain that a family emergency has come up and flee. Because at this, sooner or later, Marwa is going to have to confront the fact that he has had an imposter as an engineer, and he's going to go after that man. And I would not want to be around when that happens. That engineer needs to get his butt out of there. He needs to run for dear life. But I just keep looking at this thing, and I'm saying to myself, surely somebody with a little bit of common sense, somebody with a little bit of intelligence is going to tell Marwa, listen to me, son. Sawa, listen to me. You have got to call this party off. Okay, you have got to call this party off. Your house isn't nearly finished. The new plumber, who for the longest time he wasn't even paying, the new plumber is having his revenge. His revenge is doing you a favor. He's tearing apart that property, correcting all of the plumbing problems that there are. We know absolutely nothing about what other problems there are. We know that there are structural defects with the house. We know that there's a risk of the house falling. And Marwa has no sense of rhyme or reason, no sense of sequencing. In the middle of nowhere, he suddenly decided that he was going to build a mud pond, and that has fallen off to the wayside now. The mud puddle, or the cesspool as it is called by government, is just sitting there, and it's becoming a place where people dump rubbish. Now, out of nowhere, Marwa, a few days away from his grand fiesta, Marwa decides that he's going to build himself a fish He's going to build a fish pond in which he's going to have alligators and dolphins and crocodiles. The ground is already wet. He's going to surround a house that already is having settling issues. A house that already has cracks in the walls, and he's going to surround it with water. What's going to happen is that at some point or the other, after the engineer has fled, that house is just going to collapse. And the fishes and the shark are going to chase Marwa. I hate to laugh at somebody else's problems, but I remember when Marwa was building Mama Ann's house, and he was boasting about how he can build a house in 10 days, in 7 days, or 5 days, whatever the hell he was saying. I remember saying to myself, this man is a fool. Okay? You don't put up a house and expect it to last for years and do it hastily. You can do that with a mud hut, but you're not going to put up a modern house and have it, last any period of time when you're rushing and being sloppy. Anyway, let me stop and say something. If you haven't liked and subscribed my channel, please like and subscribe to my channel. I'm not specifically saying how many people I have, but since I came back and have started making videos, I have a lot of new subscribers, and I'm hoping to get even more. But the point is this: there's something that Marwa always likes to say about how cheap is expensive. Well, he keeps trying to do things on the cheap. He keeps trying to rush things. Anything that is well done should be done in its proper time. And you don't run around hiring the cheapest plumber, the cheapest mechanic, the cheapest engineer, because they're going to quote you a price that's very low and it's going to sound good. But then when somebody else has to come along and straighten out their mess, you're going to pay dearly. And what I suspect might happen with this new plumber is that he might get fed up with Marwa trying to beat him out of money and not pay him anything. He might he might just take off. And I don't know what's going to happen then, but I think that this party is going to be very entertaining to watch. It is going to be a shit show. It already is a shit show. That house is not even, I would say that with all of the plumbing work that needs to be done, with the electrical work that needs to be done for the lighting in the living area, in the rest of the house, that house is maybe like 60% finished. It is a disaster that they're trying to throw a party. My theory is that if a lot of people come, it's going to be a nightmare. But maybe the one blessing might be that nobody shows up. Anyway, once again, my friends, please like and subscribe to my channel. And please comment on what I say. I'm not a kind of person who tells people, be very respectful. I could care less whether you're respectful or not. Just please know that if you're not respectful, don't expect me to be respectful to you. But I come from a tradition. I like fights. I'm not intimidated by anybody being rude or name calling, whatever. Oh, by the way, if you want to call me grandpa, I am a grandpa. I'm not bothered by that. If you want to call me an old man, guess what? I am an old man. A lot of you young men will not live to be old men. You should admire me. So, say what you please. It doesn't bother me. Just go ahead and subscribe. And if you don't like the video, hit the dislike button. All of that only serves to make my channel stronger. But anyway, thank you very much, folks. I hope you have a wonderful day. I think I've been on here long enough. Habarigani. Not Habarigani. What's goodbye. Hasta luego. Au revoir. Bye-bye, folks. Thank you.